Hi guys, and welcome to episode 8, where we are talking all things querying in 2024. If you are new here, my name is Alina Dompt, and I am a mom of 4 and an aspiring author. Before we dive in, I'd like to hear about your querying experiences so far. So if you are not querying yet because you are just finishing up your novel and you're getting ready to query and kind of know what it looks like, if you've already queried and you just want to see what other people's experiences have been, just share in the comments below kind of where you're at with that. I'd love to know where you're at to be able to follow you and see what's going to happen with your stories as well. And if you enjoy this video, find any value in it, then please do not forget to like and subscribe. It really helps my channel and helps me get seen by other people, and it would make a huge difference in my life. So thank you for doing that. So the first batch of queries that I sent out were on March 22nd, and I think I sent out like 5 of them that day. I was just trying to get some out and figure out the formats that everybody wanted. Every agent or publisher wants a different format, and it can be really, really overwhelming to try to throw all that together and send out the correct thing, whether they want 3 chapters, whether they want a cover letter or a query letter or not. Sometimes they just want you to fill out something that they have for you already. And then on top of that, it will usually tell you on their website, or when you get an email from them, like you can expect to hear from them within 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 30 days, and it's different for everybody. And yeah, there's just a lot of rules. It's kind of crazy and hit or miss whether you hear back from them or not. I heard back from a couple people like within the day that I sent my stuff out, largely because they weren't accepting anything new at the time, even though their website didn't say so, or whatever, or they just weren't looking for that specific thing at that moment. So I wrote an epic fantasy, and it's 140,000 words, and it's part of a series. So I already know that that's going to be a hard sell for anybody, especially as a first-time author. Knowing that, it makes receiving the rejections a little bit easier, because I understand that it's a lot for an agent to accept right from the get-go and to try to sell. Same thing with publishers. It's going to be difficult to sell it to people when you have to make a bigger book and it's going to be part of a series and the other parts of the series aren't out yet. And you're not a trusted author yet, so who knows if anybody's going to even try to read your book. And it just makes it more difficult to sell a whole series from the get-go. So I already understand that it's kind of a difficult thing to try to sell. Makes it easier when I get the rejections. With all of that said, I have sent out 24 queries, and I still have 15 people that I haven't heard back from, publishers or agents that I haven't heard back from. Some of those I don't think I will ever hear from them because they had like a short window to get back to you, never got back to me. So some of those I will probably never hear from. Some of them it's like 15 weeks that you have to wait to hear back from them, or 12 months in some cases. So some of those I know I'm not going to hear from them for a long time. And they are more recent queries that I sent out, so there's still a chance that I could hear back from them. But for the most part, I'm kind of at a dip in receiving requests or just anything from anybody. If I were to do this again, knowing then what I know now, I would not send out my queries in batches. I would probably just send it to as many people as I possibly could right from the get-go, just hundreds of agents. And the reason that I would do that is because it takes so long to hear back from people. And so, well, let's back up. Hold on. When I started looking at videos that say, do this, do that about querying, it was very, send out 10, get responses on those, then you can change your query or your book based on the responses you get, and then send out another 10, and then, keep doing that process. I have not gotten any good feedback on anything that needs to be changed. Everything says, oh, this looks great, you look like you're a great writer. This is just not what I'm looking for. Basically, that's it. That's the responses that I've gotten. And I'll go through some of my responses with you guys so you can kind of hear what you get back from agents. But because of that, I got responses back and then had nothing to change in my query or in my book to see if I could get better responses from agents. So now it's just many months later and I have some rejections and I'm just waiting to hear from somebody who wants more out of the book than just, oh, this looks great, it's just not what I'm looking for. So because of that, I'm getting started on a new novel, which you would know if you'd seen the other episodes of this series. But I'm getting started on a new novel, and this next week I am just using to send out as many queries as I possibly can to just flood the market with my book and see what happens, and then I will move on. Okay, so let's go through a few responses that I've gotten from the agents that I have sent my book to, just so you guys can kind of get an idea of what the responses have been and possibly what they might look like for you. Okay, so I'm going to start with my favorite rejection that I got. I have gotten quite a few rejections now, I think. Let me count them. I've gotten 9 rejections so far. And of these rejections, this one was my favorite one because I felt like there had been some actual time and effort put into the response instead of just, this isn't what we're looking for, good luck. And it says, thank you very much for your submission. From what I see on exhibit here, I know very well that you're an amazing writer. I also have a lot of respect for your writing and you as a writer. Ultimately, I have some market considerations and editorial concerns that prohibit me from offering literary representation for this particular project. While I understand that submissions process is not easy, I would be grateful if you would please keep in mind that the publishing industry is very much so a highly subjective business, so someone else might feel differently. This particular agent reminded me that, of course, I consider them for other projects in the future, and then gave me more information about their online submission portal and just how long you have to wait to submit again. So that was pretty encouraging because it was, this is good. There's no reason for me to hate it. It's just not what I'm looking for. I have market considerations. Understandable. I really appreciated that response. Now, most of the responses are like this. This looks good, just not what we want, or we can't use it for whatever. And although I appreciate seeing a written response and not just being ghosted, it's still a little frustrating because I'm like, okay, everything's good, it's just not what you're looking for. Is there anything I can change? There's just no feedback really on what can change, and that can be kind of frustrating because if there's something I could be changing or a way that I could write it better, I would love to know that. But so far, I haven't gotten any feedback like that. I do want to read one of the most odd responses that I got. And maybe it's just because it didn't feel quite as professional as most of the other ones did. But I just want to read it so that you kind of get an idea. Like, not all of them are exactly the same. So this one I got said, thank you for allowing me to consider your project. I've gone over your query and sample pages, and I'm sorry, this one just isn't quite working for me. I'm sorry I cannot be more specific at this time, but I encourage you to keep looking for your agent match. So that one was weird. I thought it was weird. But a lot of the responses are, this query isn't a good fit for me, and I cannot offer further consideration for your project, and that kind of thing. All understandable. There's tons of books out there trying to find an agent, and every agent has tons in front of them. I know there are going to be rejections. That's not surprising to me. But because it has taken so long to get feedback, I have just realized that you need to send everything out kind of in one go. And I don't know if that's just the 2024 experience where there are too many books being sent out and you don't have time to send some out and wait and send some out and wait, because it does become at least an 8 to 12 week wait every time you send something out. And I don't think it's worth it to make the small changes here and there that need to be made on your query or in your book to wait so long to potentially have other agents get their eyes on your work. So honestly, I have to say querying has been like a mixture of disappointment and like excitement, because you're just hoping every time you see that email, like, oh, is this somebody that's gonna want my work? And for sure, nobody has wanted it yet. Nobody has wanted it yet. And I just have to keep thinking that to myself. But every time you receive rejection, generally it's just frustrating. And then you move on because you know that you're going to receive rejections because not everybody's going to love what you have to say. or what you're writing about, or what your genre is, or how big your book is, or any amount of factors that can go into that. So because of that, this week I am going to be focusing on getting out as many queries as I can, as fast as I can. I'm hoping about 10 a day if I can do that. And that will bring me to about 30 that I've sent out this week. And then I'm just going to jump into my next project. And if you want to join me, it will be 5 weeks of writing 10K words a week, 10,000 words a week. And that will be 50,000 words by the end of the 5 weeks. I would love to have people to do this along with me so that we can share what's going on at the same time. You guys can share in the comments with me what you're experiencing and how the challenge is going. And I'd love to kind of build a community around writing this next book that I'm going to be writing, and having people that I can share all of the ups and downs of writing and querying and etc. with. So I will probably come check back in with you midweek after I've sent out some queries, maybe at the end of the week, and we can talk about how much fun it is to send out so many queries in so little time. Hey guys, so oh my gosh, this week has been a wild ride. I have sent out somewhere in the ballpark of like 60 queries, and it was so much work and very exhausting, and I don't even remember everybody that they sent them to. I have some names in my head that I can like kind of recall, but I couldn't tell you what firm or agency or whatever they're from, and I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. It was just a week of lots of research, lots of queries, and I'm so tired. That being said, it is Tuesday. I finished sending out my last few queries on Saturday, and I have officially received a full manuscript request. That was last night. So I decided I should probably finally get to actually telling you guys everything about what had happened and how this whole week has gone with all of the queries. And so yeah, yesterday I got a full manuscript request, which I'm really excited about. And so I sent out just a quick little email to the other agents this morning that we had gotten a full manuscript request, and just to let them know what was going on, if they still had interest or were interested, where the manuscript was in the slush pile, basically. And now I'm just waiting to hear back from people. I have gotten something like 7 rejections also in this time period. So, querying is so hard. I think the sad thing about it is it's not just if you've written a good book, it's if you found the right agent that is looking for your type of genre, your type of work, if that's what they're looking for right now, if they have time to take somebody else on right now. And there aren't tons of literary agents. There's a decent amount, but the options are actually kind of few considering how many manuscripts get sent out regularly and how big they say their slush piles are, and etc., etc. So the fact that I've gotten a request for my manuscript, I'm actually really happy about that right now, because I was getting to the point where I didn't think that was ever going to happen. Which is silly because I had only sent out like 20 queries before this week, and I hadn't even heard back from all of them yet. And none of the responses that I've gotten have been bad, just this isn't what I'm looking for, or I have too much on my plate, I have market considerations for this that I'm worried about, that kind of thing. And because I've been planning for this next novel that I'm writing, I haven't been really stressed about it finding a home, because if it doesn't happen to, then I know the next book that I'm writing will probably have an easier time finding a home, just because of the genre that it is, the length that it will probably be, and all of that. The other exciting thing that happened this week as I was doing research, well, let me back up a little bit. So me and my husband were talking about some of the things that agents look for and what they want, and I had talked about fairy tale retellings because that seems to be everywhere on everybody's lists. Not everybody's, but a lot of people say, I really like fairy tale retellings. And I was talking to my husband about it, and I was like, they always do like this or that, like Cinderella or Beauty and the Beast, just ones that you're used to seeing retellings of over and over and over again. And I said, I have not seen a retelling of X fairy tale. It's not a common one, it's kind of a weird one. And I was like, don't you think that would be cool? And I started like talking about what I thought would be cool about it. And then my husband was like, oh yeah, and you could also, do this with it and do that with it. And we got this like brainstorming session going, and it got us both kind of excited about it. And so as I was doing research on agents, I came across an agent for no reason because she didn't have her queries, she wasn't open for submission. And so I don't know why I was looking at her page because she wasn't open for submission, but I opened it and I was looking through it, and in her list she had, I like fairy tale retellings and I really like this old fairy tale. And it was the one that we had been talking about. That's just a random one that nobody would just come up with like off the cuff without it being something that they really enjoyed. So I texted my husband and I was like, hey, I just came across an agent that said they really like that particular fairy tale and they like fairy tale retellings and whatever. And he was like, well, that's it, I'm writing it. And so over the course of the next 5 weeks that you guys are going to be doing all of this writing with me for, he's actually going to be writing that first draft of a novel while I write the one that we have been planning in the past 7 episodes. So if anything came out of this querying process, it's that we have come up with 2 books that we're both really excited to write and that we think could find a place on the shelves for whatever reason, because that's what people are looking for, what they might enjoy. And if we don't find a place for this epic fantasy novel now because it's a hard sell and we're not authors yet, and so publishers would really be taking a chance on us by publishing this and then having to invest in another 2, 3, 4 books. So I have some confidence that something could come out of the other books that we're working on now, and we're really excited about it at this point. And then maybe someday, if this epic fantasy doesn't make it now, it can make it later because we will be more established. So anyway, I'm taking a week off because I am exhausted from all of the querying, and then following that, I will start my 5 weeks of writing, and I'll be writing 10K words every week. I think that probably every 2 weeks I'm going to take a week off just to do a break, so that I can deal with the querying and everything that's going on with the epic fantasy, and just real life, because it's a big responsibility and I'm a mom of 4 and there's just a lot going on. So I'll probably take breaks every 2 weeks just so that I can keep my life together, keep my house clean, all of that. But I am so excited for you guys to follow along with me, and I will see you guys next week or in 2 weeks depending on when I finally get this posted. But we can see how my first week goes writing. I am testing out where I'm going to be writing every day and just see what I enjoy the best. If I like doing it in my bedroom, if I like doing it in the office, all over the place, and we'll just kind of see where my inspiration flows the best, my creativity, whatever, all of that. So I will see you guys in the next video. Later.